Hello and welcome to Cross Circle Squared. I am Benny Gerkman and this is TouchPad, your daily video game news show where we break down the 3 most important news stories of the day in an easily listenable format for your commute, your lunch break, wherever else you'd like to listen. We just had a weekend full of news, albeit mostly all updates on previous news stories, but we still have lots to talk about. So let's get started. All right, first up on the dock is an update on the Xbox Multiplatform rumors. I know you might be tired of the story, but it's not going away, at least until Microsoft's little business update planned for sometimes this week. There is an Xbox podcast planned for Thursday. I'm not sure if this is where they plan to address the rumors, but that is happening, so keep a lookout for that. I'll keep you notified on anything that gets announced there. However, we do have some more concrete information on this whole situation. Last week we talked about that GameStop ad promoting Microsoft Game Pass instead of Xbox Game Pass. And that of course led to many people on Twitter and beyond speculating as to if Xbox will even exist in the coming years. You know, will they just get rid of their hardware platforms entirely? Of course, that's highly unlikely, but we have seen Xbox become more platform agnostic in the past few years, so I don't know, could be a shift on where they're putting their software, rather than putting a stop to hardware altogether. And that does look to be the case with new information from Shannon Lau. This is her Substack I'm pulling from here. She reported in this newsletter that Xbox held an internal town hall where company leader Phil Spencer assured employees they would not be leaving the hardware space. Instead, that Xbox would continue to be part of a strategy that involves all kinds of devices. I think this is what we will find officially this week, especially with the Xbox position that they've had the past few years. We know that Xbox plans to release hardware, or at least they did recently, at some point, plan to release hardware, as we saw from those FTC versus Xbox leaks. We also know that Xbox is less worried about being a premier console maker, in the same way that Sony and Nintendo care, at least. Nintendo is famous for not wanting to be bought out, partly due to the fact that they find themselves successful with how they run their business, focusing on software on their own platforms. Xbox, on the other hand, has seen some success through xCloud being available everywhere. Game Pass is a big bet, but that's been successful, and they've been releasing their games to PC for years. So their games seem to do well on Steam, through the Xbox Windows app, and on their own consoles. This position makes sense from a business outlook too, if you're looking to kind of put your games on everywhere, on each platform. We've seen in those recent Take-Two financial reports that Xbox as a platform, as a piece of hardware, isn't doing that well. This was spotted by GameSpot, who shared that, at least with the information that Take-Two has from their recent earnings report, the PS5 may be outselling Xbox Series S and X by nearly double. Sony announced that the PS5 hit 50 million sales last year, and Take-Two has reported that there have been 77 million consoles sold in this generation. So do some simple math, and there you go. This also corroborates that some reporting that IGN did last year that the PS5 was outselling Xbox Series by 3-1 in 2023. If you take those sales numbers into account, add in the success Xbox has had as a software company putting their stuff elsewhere, it's easy to see why Microsoft may be positioning in that way. PC alone is a formidable platform, so if you already have some great sales there, you can pick up some people with mobile xCloud and Game Pass on handhelds, plus start publishing on these other consoles. You'd be able to see how Xbox can move past their issues with device sales, recoup their costs through the games themselves. It's known that in the past, many console manufacturers sell their devices at a loss anyway. There's no loss involved when you're downloading an Xbox-published game on PC, for example. And there's definitely no loss involved when you're Sony, and your recent release, Helldivers 2, has absolutely destroyed records for PlayStation releases on Steam. In our second story, let's talk about the smash success of Helldivers 2. Despite a rocky launch for their servers, Helldivers 2 has seemingly had an incredibly well response in terms of player counts and in sales. As of writing, per SteamDB, there's about 120,000 people in-game right now, which is higher than any previous record set by Sony. God of War was that previous record. They hit 73,000 at launch. And Helldivers 2 is beating it as we speak at this moment, and they have been for the past few days. It hit an all-time peak of 155,000 a few days ago, and the 24-hour peak right now is about 145,000. And let's take a look here at the graph of player counts over the past few days. It seems to be growing, if anything. I'm not 100% sure if that all-time peak will stick at 155. Again, they're very close, even as we're talking right now, 130. So, make it evening, maybe this weekend, we might see it expound that 155 record. Certainly doesn't seem to be slowing down, at least. This game has hit a huge amount of people in terms of just games discourse mind space. I've seen a lot of people enjoying it on Twitter and in all the Discord servers I'm in. It looks like a ton of fun, and reviews are pretty good as well. Most of the reviews are in progress. I mean, it is a multiplayer live service game, so it can take a while to get a really good grasp in terms of writing a nice structured review when you have like 100 hours of content you could go through. But all of the reviews in progress and first impressions I've seen from the major outlets are glowing. I'll link IGN's review in progress as well as Kind of Funny's below. The overall talk about this game has been very positive and nice to see, especially since a lot of us were concerned about PlayStation and Sony's live service kind of goals they've had the past few years. It looked pretty shaky from the outside. I'm not 100% sure on the actual numbers, but something like half of their planned live service games were canceled. So to see this one come out and to be received really well is very, very nice to see. However, what hasn't been nice to see is Twitter discourse. And we have another round of Twitter discourse, yet again, about yellow paint. Last year we saw it make the rounds again with Resident Evil 4 Remake, and now we're seeing it again, but with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is Dave Oshry on Twitter right here. First of all, this is everywhere. Everyone on Twitter is talking about this, at least in game dev circles, and it is not nice. There are, if you thought the Xbox multi-platform discourse was bad, this is somehow worse. People on Twitter just really seem to not like yellow paint. I don't know why they hate yellow paint and not red barrels, locked doors, that you find the key to later, or really any other sort of game design that lets you actually enjoy the game and not get lost, but here we are. There are some other ways you can create these same levels of subconscious guiding without spraying everything yellow, but I mean, it's effective, and it's like synonymous with the game that you're playing, right? Red barrels, for example, like I mentioned earlier. Like when you see a red barrel, shoot the red barrel. No one ever complains about that. I don't get why yellow paint is an issue then. If you want to learn more about level design and how to guide players with these sorts of brain cues, I recommend Game Maker's Toolkit video with Naughty Dog dev Evan Hill. It's a great watch. It really illuminates a lot of the things you don't realize playing through a AAA game, how you're kind of lightly pushed along in the right direction. It's a great video, and I really recommend. All right, finally, for our last news story, let's talk about CD Romance. If you don't know, CD Romance was a great source for ROM hacks, and specifically a lot of fan game translations. Unfortunately, though, last week's Twitter users spotted that all of the site's files were seemingly taken offline. There's currently a workaround to get to the files. The website is still up, it's just the links to the files that are gone. You can find that fix pretty easily if you look up online, but it's still a shame that the future of this site is kind of in the balance. We have nothing confirmed whether that it was legal action or maybe the site's creators just let something lapse or something went wrong on the code side. We really have no information on what actually happened. A lot of Twitter users are speculating, of course, that it was some sort of legal action, and that's probably the case. But, of course, if you're still trying to get a copy of something, you can. There is a way to do it. Okay, out today, there's a few things, but really only one thing that's notable. That's Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden, and it's actually been scoring pretty nicely. OpenCritic has it at an 82, Metacritic shows a 77. The general consensus is that the story and the moment-to-moment gameplay are really good. It's just kind of held back by some technical issues and some undercooked gameplay elements. All right, that is everything for today. Yesterday, we released our Alan Wake 2 review with Jared. Check that out if you missed it. This Sunday is confirmed to be Alan Wake 1 review. Scheduling issues caused 2 to be before 1. It's fine, don't worry. Please don't worry about it. I'll see you tomorrow for our next episode of TouchPad. In the meantime, though, I am Benny Gerkman. This is Cross Circle Squared, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!